Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sandy Allnock and this is Krabby, my new studio assistant, I guess you could call him. He works for free and that's good. I thought I'd continue in my pen and ink series on when and how you use different techniques, or I should say when and how I use different techniques. The first one was just on hatching. And I did a whole drawing that only had hatching and line work. This one has hatching and cross-hatching, and I want to talk about when I use each one of them in order to create a drawing like this one. So the supplies that I'll be using are my Jacques dip pen holder, and I have a Nico G nib in it. Those are bought separately. The pen does come with another nib, but I like this one better. It just seems to hold ink longer. And of course, I have my Krabby pen holder, so it won't roll away on me. Bombay Pen Cleaner, a good recommendation to keep your nibs in good shape. And Platinum Carbon Black ink. It's a waterproof ink. This bottle has inside of it, if you've got one, there's like a little cup thing in the middle of it. And in order to fill the cup so that you can dip your pen in it or refill a fountain pen type thing with it, then just turn it upside down once and right side up and it'll fill that cup. Once the level gets down low, you may need to just take the cup out. I do that with a pair of tweezers or something so I don't get my hands all black. And then you can get the rest of the ink out of the bottom of the bottle. So in order to do hatching, you just do lines that are parallel to each other. There's no rule about always having to be vertical, horizontal, angled, whatever. And some people are very careful with theirs and make them all perfect. And then there's people like me. This one is, of course, a little quick egg that I thought I would do since this is being posted the day before Easter. Happy Easter to all who celebrate. But you can go in different directions. So hatching is just one direction. Cross-hatching is just crossing it in another direction. You can go back and forth in different directions. I tend to think of it in terms of a left to right angle going upward, a right to left going downward, and then vertical and horizontal, and then anything I need in between. And it's all about what you need to do to accomplish the value that you want to create. And yes, I realize this is an egg. It doesn't have this much value, but I was trying to do something Easter themed for you. So no complaints about my big grayish egg. But you can go back and forth in order to create those value differences. That's why pairing hatching and cross-hatching works so well. Because you can use the hatching by itself and just make lines in one direction and get a lighter value. And if you need that to turn into a darker value, all you have to do is cross-hatch it the other direction or make the hatching closer together. If you want some of the lines to look like they're, kind of fading out, you can just slowly expand the distance between each of the hash marks. And that's going to create that look that you see the arrow pointing to that starts to look like it's got a fade to it. So here I'm creating hatching going in the direction of the barbs of the feather. The barbs are the thing that go out from the rachis, which is that line down the middle of a feather. And they go in either direction from the rachis. So I'm starting off trying to make those lines go in the direction of the barbs, but I wanted these sections to be darker. These are places where the feathers overlap, so there are some shadows there, and I wanted them darker. So I go over them with hatching. Now you can do a bunch of different directions of it and layer it over and over to make it really dark, or you can just go over once really carefully. Sometimes you can get different values by just looking at your drawing overall and see where your darkest darks are. If you have trouble seeing where those darks are when you're looking at a color photo, try to see if you could turn it black and white. Just take it into your phone and take the color down to nothing, and you'll be able to see those black and whites. Here I was looking at the place where the wing joins right next to the body, and there's a really good dark there, and I wanted to get that really dark, so I just kept going different directions until it was as dark as I needed. and you can go all the way to black with it if you want to. But a lot of times I find I save those little like pinpricks of black for the very end because I want to see how everything else balances out, because you can't really erase pen and ink. Now you can use a sand eraser on some surfaces. I did use a little bit of a sand eraser when I dropped a little dot of ink on this particular illustration board, because illustration board is a quality surface, but you need to test out something like that before you use it. You can use whites to cover up some mistakes, but it's a whole lot better to just take your time and go slowly. And if you're in doubt about how dark to go in a particular area, make it lighter to start with. And then you can figure out later on if you need to do a little bit of cross-hatching, a little bit of darkening of something in order to create the kinds of values that you're looking for. So the body on this bird, from the head all the way down, I wanted to have a different flavor to the lines. So I'm going to use hatching instead of cross-hatching across this entire body section, because it's not only going to create a softer look, because in the photograph I was working with, the feathers on the body are much smaller and they look much softer as well. So not interrupting that with crisscross lines is going to help to make this a little softer transition between values. I want it to have more of an overall grayness to it. And as this kind of works its way out, you can see, if you squint, the difference between the feathers on the wings and the feathers on the body. And I'm accomplishing that not only by leaving white space and making a little further space in between some of the hash marks as I am working across it, but I'm also sometimes turning the nib upside down. With most nibs, whether it's dip pens, fountain pens, whatever, you can often get a lighter line, an even smaller line, by turning the nib upside down. Just turn the whole pen and test it out on a piece of scratch paper just to make sure. But I can get a heavier line if I use the pen right side up, and then I could, flip it the other direction in order to get something a little bit thinner. And you can control that both by the distance in between each of the little lines and the pen in what direction you're using it. If you have multiple widths of pen, you can switch to a smaller width. If you're using micron pens or something, just change out for something smaller. And overall, what I wanted in here was a different look for the body feathers than for everything else. Now, in this bottom section under the feet, the feathers curl around. They kind of come in from both sides, and I needed to create the directions for all those lines. So I'm making the lines in here still not cross-hatched, but they're following the direction that the feathers go. So I'm just looking for the linear patterns that I see in the photo reference that I'm using and start to create those feathers that curl in from both the right and the left. And the center portion in between both feet at the bottom is darker. So I just used closer together cross-hatching. And then for some of the really dark areas, instead of using cross-hatching, I just used the lines closer together to make dark black areas for shadows. Now in the tail, there's different kinds of lines that I'm using here. The hatching on the white portions of the feathers are very light, and I'm following the direction of the barbs of the feathers. And then for the top section of each of the feathers, there's just a darker area in there. So I'm creating some cross-hatching in there to make the value darker. So it's all really about the values that you're getting in your drawing, and then the textures as well, because the texture of cross-hatching is going to be different than the texture of just hatching. The length of the lines will make a difference. There's so many factors that you can bring in to start to differentiate all the different areas of a particular drawing. Now, in part 2 of this, which will come in a couple weeks because I have a few projects I need to get jamming on right now in the meantime, but I am going to get back to this one. It's put away safely now until I can get back to it. But in the outer edges of this drawing, around the whole outside of the bird, I'm going to do a whole different technique. So that will be the next one in this pen and ink series. If you're interested in the techniques that I'm using, there's a free chart on my website, so you can go over there and sign up for it. There's also some pen and ink classes. I'll link to all of that in the doobly-doo if you're interested in more on pen and ink. But in the meantime, subscribe. Make sure that you're back here for the rest of the pen and ink series. And you can also see a pen and ink playlist. And I'll link to that and everything else in the doobly-doo, which is the description area under the video. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me today. I will see you again very soon. Get out there and create something every single day. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.